All right. Going once, going. Okay. All right. According to the YouTubes, it is now live. Let me just double check before we get into things. Welcome to the most riveting thing you've ever. It's not. This is the most background relaxed kind of thing we're doing. We're drawing, which is just a bunch of lines going on and on and on. And yes, we are live. Perfect. Okay. Let me just say what we're doing today. Today we're doing line art. We're going to be drawing some line art, and then we're going to finish with that line art, and we're going to start working on making some flat colors happen here today. I'm pretty certain this is what is going to happen, unless I am extremely slow and I've vastly overestimated myself. But I don't think I have. I think I've got this pretty down pat right now. So let's get some music going and get started with this, shall we? Let me grab something and we can get going. Okay, I think that should be at a nice background level. Yay. Let me just move you so that I can see you and my screen at the same time. Yes, it's just very important for me to pay attention to you, of course. But I also need to be able to see my reference and what I'm drawing. So this is where we left things off last stream. For anyone new here, I've been streaming my entire webcomic process, where we're making my webcomic live, just like the full thing, right? From doing the storyboard / thumbnail stuff to drawing the sketches, and then from the sketches we are now at the line art process. For a previous episode of my webcomic, we've also done some of the, I think it was like the color, lighting, shadows type of stuff already. So that's also available in the back catalog of streams, if you're also curious to see how we got to this point here. So that's where we're working today, and we're almost done with all of the panels for this particular episode. Finally, it's been a month, I think, maybe more. I don't know, but it's you know, takes a while. Takes quite a while to create all of this art. Anyway. So we are going to be finishing up here. We're currently on our 45th panel. We just need to get to our panel 51. And then once we have all of that sorted out, we're going to go back in, starting from the very beginning, and start blocking in colors. So this whole process happens in phases, right? So right now we're in the line art phase. The next phase we are going to be entering into is the color blocking phase. From the color blocking phase, we will go into shadows, and then after we're done with the shadows and essentially doing the cell shading for shadows, we are going to enter into the lighting phase, effects, coloring the line art, and what else is there? Yeah, any final effects like blur and little extras and whatnot. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And sorry, let me just switch to the correct character sheet here. There we go. This is our character that we're drawing today. Or not just the only character we're drawing today, but he is who we're drawing in this panel right here. And over the course of this stream, I will just, I guess, be talking about the kind of webcomic creation process. Last stream we talked a little bit about how to do line art, and I think if anything comes up in terms of how to do line art, I'll mention it. Okay, one thing to mention about line art, of course, is that you don't need any particular special brush. It's just lines. It's not that complicated. But of course, feel free to play with it and do what you want and try different brushes. There's a really nice default brush here, actually. Let me get it. I'm not using it for the Blackguard, which is this comic, but yeah, this one I really like. See how it has a little bit of an edge? Makes a really nice line art brush. Look at that, it's so nice. I love how it's a little bit jittery. If I blow up the size, you can see it really obviously. Look at that. It kind of creates that effect of when you're drawing on a piece of paper and the grains of the paper and the ink seeping into the grains kind of creates that effect. Anyway, let's get back to our actual brush and our actual task here today, our actual artistic task here today. And I will just like pop right on into it. I guess another thing I can talk about, aside from just like how to draw in general or the specifics of like drawing line art and things like that, is the process of making the comic. Now, of course, this particular comic I'm making, I think I need to require some context before I talk about how to make it, because everyone's comic might be different or have like a different format. Like, for example, those Instagram episodic comics that people might see, it's going to be different from my comic, because my comic is... Let me just double check my... Alright, sorry. Oh yeah, my comic, it's not episodic in the sense that I have one continuous story running through, right? It's not like a new episode every week with a new story from scratch with like the same characters. There's an overarching story and we're telling it bit by bit with each episode. So that's my situation. That's the considerations I'm making when it comes to planning and writing for it. Right, so for something that is episodic storytelling versus sort of like a larger scale storytelling, you don't need to worry so much about the continuity. You might have some like broad underlying continuity in that situation, but if you're doing what I'm doing, then continuity becomes a really big thing, and sort of making sure that the story structure and flow is engaging from episode to episode, so it all feels like it's building on each other. I cannot comment on whether or not I'm doing a good job on that, because I think that's for the reader to experience and decide whether or not I'm doing a good job, right? If you enjoy reading it, then you enjoy it. So I'm not going to make any claims about my skill level there, only that it is what I'm thinking about and working on. Let's get that line in there nicely. Yeah. So, how do we go about planning it? I mean, for this particular one, I kind of had the overarching seed concept, which was around actually this character that you're currently seeing on screen. So that's nice. It was around him. Basically, I was like, what if we have like a blacksmith, and we make him POV character, and he doesn't actually have like a grand heroic mission to go on. So if you're familiar with the whole like hero's journey structure, boy on a farm situation in fantasy, where it's like it starts with this normal boy living in a normal village on a farm somewhere. Sometimes it's like a magical fantasy world type farm, but it's still the sort of like average Joe village farm or whatever. And then he gets the call to adventure, and then he's like, no, not the call, please, anything but the call to adventure. But then an inciting incident happens that basically forces him to go on the adventure, right? Like, oh no, the evil invading force of the bad guy has razed the village to the ground, and it's all like there's no home anymore, so you have to leave. Stuff like that. And then now that the inciting incident has occurred, the incident that incites the plot, off we go to the races. So that's the kind of first act in that structure. I think I definitely do tend to consider my structure in terms of what everyone's trying to accomplish in any given situation. That's what I try to do, and then I try to create some tension with that. But the concept with this one was that rather than being called off to adventure, his issue is that actually the situation of another story, this is the initial concept, right? Not saying what it turned into in terms of what's actually published, but the initial concept was like, in the light of, you know, the good guys defeating the bad guys or whatever, and ending the war, and now peace times are upon us, this guy was selling weaponry, right? Like, he was forging swords and selling them, and he had a nice big contract with the royalty and the military and all that to keep producing weapons. So he was having a really good time actually with the war happening, right? Business is booming. And then for the war to suddenly end, he's like, well, what my business do now? And he's in a rush to actually solve that problem and to figure out how to be profitable again, because he took out shady loans in order to be able to keep up with the increased production. And he was banking on his contracts to be able to repay those loans. You know, they would have been fine. Except now all of those contracts have fallen through and he's left holding the bag of swords. So that's kind of how it gets started, and as any logical person would do in light of having to pivot their business model, he's like, instead of pivoting my business model, why don't we just like have the war again? It would be so much better to just be at war again, because then I can just sell these swords. I already made them, I already forged them. So if we were just at war again, that would be great. And that was kind of the initial concept for this character. And then I kind of just had that on my shelf. I've got a lot of like shelf ideas because I'm just one person, so I gotta take them off the shelf one by one to make them happen. And yeah, so that was like one of the concepts I had. And then as I started working on it for this project, it kind of evolved, right? Like he had a son who's not his son. More on that in the actual comic. And then after that, the actual king who ended the war, right? And the war that the previous ruler was partaking in, and that the ruler before that was partaking in, and all that, he became a POV character. So now we have this character you're seeing on screen, his son, the king, all of them are POV characters. And then there's also one more POV character, who is this one. I just swapped my reference, so you will see her on the screen. And so I have an interesting thing where, because this is an ongoing story, I do have the like overarching plan for how the story is meant to go, right? It's like all of these things happen in the sort of like first 1/3 of the story, and the second part of the story these things happen, and then in the third part of the story these things happen, right? I kind of have it set in 3 parts in my documents. And then it's just a matter of figuring out how those things might unfold or shift. And so the minutia of that planning, I know I'm not going to be able to like write every single episode in advance, because there's going to be like hundreds upon hundreds of episodes. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I have my overarching plan, and then that can help guide the episodes. But then primarily how I realize I'm doing it is that I set up the characters, I let them essentially like be part of the world, and then I end up like interviewing them in my mind, where I'll be like, hey there, you, what are you doing all of this for? Why do you have these feelings? Because I sort of set that up, right? It'll be like, person A is an angry and ambitious guy who's doing this in his life, and teaming up with these people, right? Something along those lines. And that's sort of my premise around getting to know them. And then when I interview them, I'm like asking them. Interviewing them is like having conversations with them in my head, basically. So then I'm in my own head, I'm asking like, why do you like this person? Why do you dislike this person? All that sort of stuff. And then they tell me. That's it. They just tell me. They'll tell me. I'll be like, is it because of this? And they're like, nope, it's actually that. Or yep, you got it. And it's not just this, it's also this other thing. And I'm like, oh my, juicy. So it's like, it's weirdly like I'm gossiping with my fictional characters about their lives, and then that helps me to write the story. Yeah. That sounds so strange, but that's kind of how that goes. Yeah. So when it comes down to like making each individual episode, there's like a whole bunch of this other stuff happening in the background, and then oftentimes when I'm like having to be like so many steps ahead of each episode means that I feel like everything is moving so slowly, but then when I was reading back on the episodes, it feels like a normal pace. But then as the person making it, like imagine for a reader where they have to like wait for the episode, and then they finally get to see it. But then for me as the person making it, I'm seeing the episode like too much. I'm seeing the episode during like when I first write it, and then when I edit the writing, and then when I'm thumbnailing after I have my final version of the writing, and then I have it again when I do the sketches, and then have it again when I'm doing the line art. So it's like I'm just like seeing this one scene over and over and over and over again. And yeah, so it's basically what that comes down to. Is that it's really nice to get feedback as well when doing sort of like a long drawn out story. Because it's easy, I think, for me at least, to get bogged into not being able to even tell how the pacing is going anymore, because you have such a different experience as the creator than as a reader. And especially different from the binge reader's experience, right? Where they read like all the episodes at once. That's kind of where the true pacing comes in, actually. Versus the person who's waiting all month just to see like one little thing happen. And then that really slows the story down. So it's a difficult thing there, pacing. Because in that sense, when the story is like happening live, in like the episodes are coming out bit by bit, not sort of a complete story all at once like a book is, then it kind of like does something weird to the pacing for anyone who's actively reading. Okay, let me focus on drawing for a little while so that we can get to color. And I don't want to take too long on like perfecting each panel so much that we like take the entire stream. Because that kind of happened last time, I think. Oh, sorry, I was like talking a lot. Talking while working is pretty challenging. Pretty challenging. It's like when I was in school and I was reading like the animator's survival kit, and there's like a section near the front where author sort of has this little cartoon where he's asking senior animator, oh hey, what do you listen to? What kind of music do you listen to when you're working, huh? And the guy yells at him like, I'm not listening to any music. I'm focused on my work. and the whole message there being like, don't distract yourself with other stimulation while you're drawing, animating, doing your creative thing. And right now we have music playing and I'm talking and trying to like share stuff at the same time. So I am very much breaking that rule to the nth degree. I'm breaking the rule so bad. And just imagining the blood boil. Like, how dare you? Ooh, that's a nice line. This beard is really luscious. I love it. I'm not really a beard person, but you know, a good drawing's a good drawing, right? Ooh. Okay, let's get this curly hair in. Oh yeah, the other challenging thing is like today I'm talking about stuff that's not directly on the screen as I'm talking about it. Whereas last time, you know, I was talking about line art and then I'm doing line art, so it matches really easily. Whereas trying to like discuss points around storytelling for an ongoing story that is being released live to the public as it is ongoing. Wow. Brain power. Brain power not high enough. I don't have enough RAM for this. Too many operations at once. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the storytelling stuff, oh yeah, it's definitely hard to talk about on the fly. Gosh. I think there's something to the this like concept of people's motives in any given scene, and then how you're going to resolve that. So it's like, you know, if you got a scene where someone is trying to search for an item, MacGuffin X, then how do we make that scene interesting and not just like person checks A, B, and C and gets it or doesn't get it. So there has to be some sort of thing bringing in tension to the scene, and also some way of making that resolution of the motive satisfying, even if it's not like fully resolved, right? Because, you know, we're sort of packing in different amounts of like of promises around like what's gonna happen, and then paying them off, and layering those to form a longer story. So what was I saying? You see what I mean about it being difficult to like communicate and like do these two things at once. All right. Storytelling. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's like my brain knows exactly what I need to say, but then there's not enough room for the thinking to form. Okay, so when we want to resolve some sort of promise, like based off like characters' motives and characters' actions, you know, in the case of like, okay, we're looking for an object, so then the question there is, do we get to find that object, right? And basically throughout the story you're kind of going like, either yes, we do actually get to accomplish the thing, but, and then the but leads to like more scenarios, right? But now the bad guys know that we have it, and so they have countermeasures for that situation. Or the opposite, so we have that, the yes but, or the no and then also, right? So it's like, no, we don't have the device, and now the bad guys know that we're looking for it, and so they are doubling down on like making sure we can't find it. So that's kind of like how to resolve the scene, but then how do we like build tension in the scene? And this can come from, I guess I'll talk about one thing, okay? I'm not going to try and talk about everything. But this can come from conflicting motives, right? So we got like character A who wants to find the thing, find the MacGuffin. Character B actually doesn't want to find it because of some important and compelling reason that isn't just because they want to be a dick, right? It's like, it's because in their culture they think the MacGuffin is bad, or actually they're allergic to the MacGuffin that we're trying to find in the scene. So if they find it, they will, end up in the hospital or something. So for whatever reason, they are actually counteracting. Like one motive is counteracting another motive, and they are in conflict with each other. That's one way to form tension in the scene, right? Not every scene has to have that, obviously. I'm just talking about it one way. And so yeah, that's one way. And then even bonus points if, like, for whatever reason the counter motive, right, these motives that are in conflict cannot be fully communicated to one another. So it's like so the character who doesn't want to find MacGuffin, let's say that their reason for not finding it is because, like, in their homeland the MacGuffin is considered a bad thing, but they're currently, I don't know, persecuted people, and they are in hiding, so they've not told anyone else who they actually are, and so they're actually trying to ruin the efforts to find the thing, but they cannot let anyone know. So that adds an extra layer of tension, basically, when we have secrets and characters trying to keep stuff from each other. So that can be one factor as well, because then people either like want to see the secret revealed, they're like, oh my god, just reveal it, or they're like, oh no, this is a really important secret to keep, we mustn't let the characters know that about this thing, otherwise bad stuff will happen. So there's sort of like that tension as well in there, and then you've got a pretty riveting scene, hopefully. Hopefully. And hopefully, to use the word again, that was coherent enough for you to get something out of it. Because, it's pretty difficult to draw and try to explain stuff at the same time. But soon we will get on to other topics, probably. Ooh, what is this? Okay. So we got a shrug, so the shoulder is picked up. Pick up the shoulder. And we know that this is gonna be let's straighten our drawing. Ooh. Hello. Goodbye. I just had it pop up. Okay. So yeah, that can help too. So we've got a bit of a shrug. Okay. Great. Alright, let's move on to the next panel. And let me check if we even need to draw something. Some of these are inserts from previous. Okay, we need to draw this. Doo-doo-doo. Alrighty. So then this, okay, these are fading down this way and then into this. Alright, so we kind of need to draw from here. This is like a combination panel. So let's set everything up first. If you have seen before, you know I like to work with like very faint layers because I feel like I really need to see the line art that is being put down and not the underdrawing the sketch as much. So this is the Blacksmith Guild Hall. We're not going to be drawing that. That's just so I know what's happening here. I'm going to be drawing this character. This is some dude who greets him at the door. Unimportant. We just need a face here. So we're just gonna quickly pop in this face. Alright, nothing special. Just the background character. A lot of background characters in my story. Because my story, I kind of want to, like, I don't want the sort of the people of the world to be too frivolous. I think sometimes, it's kind of like the story scale in some stories gets so big that it's like, well, what about the people who are just trying to like live their life in this world? And to me, that's a big part of this story, and also a big character motivator for one of the characters, where like his whole thing is like, I'm just trying to make I'm trying to make this place a better place to live for like normal people. And so the like background characters come in. There's a lot of like the gossip of the country, and what people are interested in and talk about. And so the kind of like the general pulse check on the country and like the people in it is something that I try to keep in the story. I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, and the citizens of the country are just weird shadows in the background, and then everyone else who's like, I don't know, some sort of like a titled figure gets to have fun at the party without any like sense of how that has repercussions on people's lives. So everything anyone important does, the citizens of the country will gossip about it. And I think that's important to me. Important to what I'm trying to do with the storytelling, I mean. Oh my. What was that? I heard like a loud crash in the background. Outside of my place. It sounded like a building fell over. Or like not a building, it's like some scaffolding. That's what it sounds like. I think I'm taking too much time to draw my background character. He's a background character, I know, but I just want him to look nice. Like not like weird, you know? He should look decent. He's still part of the scene. Do 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 do. Let me just adjust. There. So we get the sense that he's like got his hands together. I think it looks better like that. No detail. Just the Jeeves at the door. Door Jeeves. Everyone's got a job. His job is to be the guy at the door. You serve butter. You pass the butter. There we go. That's not half bad, yeah, Mr. Background Character. Okay. Actually, let's call it that. Line art for the background. And then we draw some bushes. This is how I like to draw my bushes. Kind of like bigger leaves combined with smaller leaves. So the setting of my story is very like naturey. There's a lot of plants everywhere. Because it's kind of inspired by like the kampongs that used to be around the country I live in. So a kampong is a little village. It's a term for a village. And yeah, that's kind of the inspiration, because when it comes to picking my setting, I don't really have any deep reasons for like why anything is the way that it is, because my whole thing with the story was that I didn't want to get bogged down with endlessly world building and like never start the story, because that was always my weakness, is that I would get too caught up in enjoying the world building process but then never getting to the actual world in life, like actually making the thing. So for this one I was like, nope, just like make decisions and move on. That was kind of the motto, just make decisions and move on. And so when it came to like where does this take place, I didn't want to do like a generic European castle, just because I'm like, okay, I've seen that plenty. So I'm thinking, where else do I set it? Like, what do I know about or anything? And so I was just like, why don't I just set it locally? Or not locally, but like in sort of a fantasy equivalent of like a similar area. And I live in the tropics. So I was like, okay, I know how tropics works. In terms of like the weather and all of that, and like the rainy season and blah blah blah. So I thought to myself, okay, I'll just set it in the tropics. And then I was like, alright, since I've set it in the tropics, what should things be like based on those weather conditions? And because like in my family we have architects, so I was like, what is the perfect building for living in the tropics and sort of like in this very like humid, perpetually hot, wet, damp environment. And they were like, just look at the sort of traditional Malay houses from kampungs, the kampung village structures. And so that's kind of what I did. And I'm not saying I did a good job or anything, because I'm not an architect, and like I don't know what parts of what I'm looking at in a building are important and what parts are doing what. Like I have no idea what I'm looking at. I just kind of like, something like this, and then that's how I decide what it looks like. It's the this approach again, because I was like, I don't want to get caught up in world building forever, and I was starting to get really into researching traditional like architecture around the world, like why are their traditional homes constructed the way that they are constructed. And I was like, okay, we need to get away from this very, very interesting but also not entirely relevant to my goal of just make decisions and move on. So I made my decision and moved on, and that decision was just sort of to just kind of like make the houses and the buildings and stuff kind of look like the ones that are around in tropical parts of the world. So, you know, recently I was in Bali as an example, and so when we were looking around there, I did have moments where I was like, it looks like the Blackguard comic, because it's a tropical country and the Blackguard takes place in a tropical country. So there's some similarities in the appearance of things because of that. Not because it's set in Bali or Indonesia or anywhere in particular in this world. It's not meant to be like the equivalent. I'm not trying to represent any particular culture. I'm just setting it in the tropics. That's the only basis of my decision. I have really nothing else. Not a deep and interesting story, but that's the truth. Okay. Nope, that doesn't look right. That looks a bit better. And then we want the door to be ajar. And the other thing is that this country that the story takes place in, it's not meant to be a particularly like wealthy country. So even the biggest structure, like the palace and stuff, is not like the most grandiose thing you've ever seen in fantasy. You know how like a lot of fantasy stories have like really cool, like humongous magical structures? Well, this country doesn't have many of those. That's not a big selling point now, is it? I realize I shouldn't say that. You know how amazing and magical most stories are? Mine isn't. What a thing to say. I shouldn't. But yeah, I think it's this particular part of my setting has a smaller visual, like or just a cozier vibe. There you go. Right. It's not the biggest. It's not the big grand country. There is one country that is like that. The country that was previously at war with this one, they're called Optimus, and they are way more grandiose. You'll see when they show up in the story, and that's not really a spoiler. That is revealed pretty quick. I mean, you know, after being at war with a country for a while, I feel like you gotta do some repairing of the relationship, right? So you gotta do that. So that is one of the things that the king of the country needs to deal with right now. Wow. Okay. And we need the secondary roof that way. I think both sides. Yep. See that? Great. There we go. Alright, so that is our background line art. And then I think what I'm gonna do, make another layer here for the line art. Oh my goodness, we've almost been at this for an hour. That's crazy. That was wild. Wild. Alright. I'll leave that for now. Okay, let's get. Okay, we're good with our I just wanna check. Okay, we're fine. Yay! Oh, that's a nice line. Alrighty. Okay, so we are going to need to erase that just a touch. Wow, did you see that? That was so close. Perfect. There we go. Mm-hmm. I'm just getting the hair in, sorry. I go really quiet with hair because it's just so many like wiggly lines and it's really fun. And then I get very engrossed in it. Okay. Oh wait, that doesn't make any sense. What am I doing? Silly me. My brain just like absolutely should be up derp. Okay, so there we go. There's line art here. And then we need line art for these here. I think what I can do is I'm going to put this one in the background. I'm going to keep this simple. Just like our sketch. Hello. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna take a little bit of water, dang. A little bit dry. Okay, let's see. So we wrap this up. We're gonna have 5 more panels. Come on, come on. We promised. We promised flat colors today. Let's do it. Let's get there. Let's do it. Let's get there. Let's find a way. Let's draw faster. Okay. Good. Come on. Okay, great. Like that. All right. It's funny because these are obviously not straight lines. Well, they're straight lines, but they're at an angle. And my brain doesn't see them as being at an angle, and then I try and do that, and it's very funny. Okay, very nice. Let's get this line here. That's not right. Let me get it perfectly. Perfect. Perfect line. Okay, that we can use to erase this little extras. And go back to our line art. Hello. Oh, I'm on my eraser tool. Excuse me. It's a bit embarrassing. Alright, let me just do that. And yeah, I'm not the best, but my drawings will do. There we go. Okay, so we got the top part of the roof there. And we need that. Get the structure. It's not right. I feel like I'm a spy on a mission. Okay, I'm just gonna erase some of these. Just the overhanging roof bits. So there's two like main types of roofing that I kind of have going as kind of, I don't know, my guiding design choice. is there are the green roofs, or I guess they're more teal colored, and the orange roofs. The orange roofs are made out of like clay tile, and they are fired and made waterproof and stuff, and then they turn them into a roof tile. And then the teal roofs are made out of this extremely abundant, like banana leaf type material kind of thing, and then they layer that to create roofing, and it dries down really well. And so if you weave it, you can get this really nice waterproof roof, and that's what the roofs are made of. Oh, that's such a good line. Oh no, why did I draw such a nice line? Damn, such a good line. I'm kind of mad. At how good it is. Okay, it's fine. Bigger eraser. And here we go. Okay, cool. That's looking pretty good. Let's give that a save. And now we've got that line art ready. I think the rest of the panels are character. Oh wait, no, there's like one pretty in-depth panel. Yeah, that one. Okay, we're fine. And then just these two here. Yep. Let's get this to 10. This is already a 3, very nice. Let's get some line art going. Mr. Background Character Dude. Let me make sure I didn't create inconsistency. Let me make sure I don't create inconsistency. I'm gonna just grab that part of the line art. We're gonna use it as a reference. And it'll be on a separate layer. I just want to make sure, you know, because with background characters, it's easy to lose the consistency to their appearance because they're just in the background. So then it's like my brain hasn't actually like decided on their appearance really. Wow, this is a very humongous eraser, and now it's too small. Let me check my mosaic. Okay, all good. I just gotta make sure he's got a bit more like a rounded chin. That should be close enough. Wow. Who would have thunk the background characters take up the most brain cells? Alright, let's do this. Great. Shoulder area. Come on, you can do it, brain. we're good on this. I don't really need that reference. Anymore. So we just delete it casually. Wow. Alright, sweet. Sweet. Alright, wait, I need to make sure that... Okay, great. Okay, so that's another thing related to line art that can be a little bit of a thing to consider, which is that you want to watch out for how lines are intersecting with each other. So like just here, right? We're drawing this kind of piece of clothing, and then it meets the sort of like pants leg area, and then with that intersection I want to make sure that this doesn't lead like directly into here, for example. Like when the points kind of meet in a corner or somewhere odd like that, you know, like I wouldn't, for example, if he had this sash and it was like going inward this way, I really wouldn't want it to go like directly into this point here of the elbow. But yeah, it's like one of those things to look out for, is how the lines are meeting one another. Especially if it's like two different things that are at different distance, like they're not the same item and stuff like that. Yeah, that one's a tricky one. It feels really like straightforward, and then you suddenly realize you have a line that's leading like directly into another one like that, and it's like, oh my. And sometimes they're not so easy to solve. Oopsie daisy, sorry about that. Let's zoom out. Okay. Just a little crease in the fabric right there. Like that. And it's like, all right, this way, so through the door towards victory. Right this way is into the private VIP lounge. Okay. What else do we have going on here? Let me just see my panels. So yeah, we are gonna want that. So this one can be the back. Wait a second. My bad. Let me do that on the right layer. See. Okay, it's good. Okay. Now we have some of that in. Let's chop off some of this. And this is like outside of the bounds of this layer. Or where the panel is going to be, sorry. So I don't really need to draw more. Alright. Great. Yes. Good. Yeah. Alrighty. And let's do this back, this one. Alright, let me see, is that looking like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah. Let's draw in a nice, easy, smooth way. Very natural. All right. Come on. Come on. There we go. bit, Sam? I like the idea of like having these little marks on the floor, like people have been scraping the chairs in and out over time. Not perfectly clean, you know? There we go. Here we go. Just trying to get a bit of an illusion of depth and space and all that. Okay. Let's get in the rest of the room. There you go. Balustrade. There we go. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Alright, almost there. There we go. And there's the stairs in the back. Alright. Oh, we got the room. That's a big old piece. Let's press save. Wow. Alrighty. Let's continue with this back. Oh my gosh, are we actually not going to be able to get to flat colors today and finish the... Look, I did promise flat colors, so we will go to that just as soon as I finish this. We'll wrap up this one and then we'll do a little bit of color and then we will chill out for today. Just need you to look more startled. obscurity face. Now, this is a background character for sure, but like, I still want to make sure that because they're gonna be in several panels, I still want them to be, you know, clear, right, and recognizable. I think just because a character isn't important doesn't mean they shouldn't be drawn well. Okay. Right. So I'm trying to make her recognizable enough to last a few panels, like a few panels more than the guy at the door, because she's got to actually like interact. Beyond just like one gesture. I think like that's like one of the things that's tough, is with like creating a webcomic is filling in the environment, especially because a lot of environments involve having people in them. And I see sort of like, you know, comics where they'll kind of just put these like shadowy figures that don't look anything like your main cast, and so it's like super clear, like oh yeah, this is just they're essentially the same as like a tree, you know. They have about as much significance, and I'm like, I need people to invest in my world, and part of that for me is that I feel like the people inhabiting it should have at least a certain degree of life to them, not just be like faceless gray blobs, you know? Oh my gosh, I feel the need to sneeze. Excuse me. Oh, so sorry. Blah, 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 blah. And I want her to look like really Isharan. Isharans are the type of people in my fantasy who populate this fantasy country. Isharans are the people who populate that country. And I have a few sort of like rules around their appearance to help guide me when I need to draw like a random individual. So they have kind of like wavy, for the most of them have like wavy hair, and then there's some with straight hair and then some with curly. But for the most part they have kind of a sort of like a wavy hair. Okay, hair is almost done, I think. It's looking pretty good. I want this to just be kind of like because she's working here as like a scribe. So I want her to look kind of like a frail, bookish nerd sort of situation. Just a small girl in a big world. Trying to write. Trying to write. Just a young girl trying to write in a book. A book? Staying up late. Oh, let me see what I've done here. Swirly. Okay. I'm just a small child. No, I'm not a small child. I'm just a young girl trying to do her homework. Okay. Whew. I just need the perfect line. That was a pretty good line. And then, of course, terrible posture, right? What disc jockey doesn't have it? Terrible posture. Uh-huh. Okay, how am I holding that? Okay, like that. Do a little splat. I think that's funny. I think that's funny. Make sure the other arm makes sense. Okay. Looking good, looking good. If only I could read. Okay. This is the back. Good, good. Oopsie. Okay. Let me make sure it's not having any funny intersections. Oh my god, are my eyes playing tricks on me? Am I seeing like different colors? Like, is that brown or am I crazy? I think I'm just losing my mind. Right? Yeah, it's all the same color. Okay, I'm just tired of something. Or I've been staring at, you know what? I've been staring at the screen for too long. Too long and too bright. Okay, give this a save. And we are going to pause the line art fest. We are going to stop doing line art for now, and we are just going to spend some time starting on the flat colors, because I did promise flat colors. Now, for those of you who are astute, long time viewers, anyway, but like if you've been here before, you might notice that like there is actually something that I've done here that I didn't do live previously, and that is to just put these little boxes around the characters, and that's just to help us save some time. So what are we gonna do today? We're just gonna fill in the colors for Hal here, and in order to do that we need to set up a group. Let's call it color, and we are going to just make these selections. Okay, and we're gonna make a mask using those two selections we just made, and that's all. That's it. Turn off the thumbnails and the sketch if we haven't already, and then we want to make sure that we can really see what this man is made of color wise. And the final colors actually don't look like these flat colors. These are just the base colors that we throw on, and then when we're doing our lighting and shadow effects, it transforms the base colors depending on the light the lighting environment. Yo, you know what would actually be a faster but less entertaining way is if I just use my pen tool. Let's get in there. So I think, oh, okay, you know what? I have an idea. Let's challenge ourselves with two different techniques for putting down our flat colors. We're gonna do this first, and then we're gonna use the pen tool. And you'll see. We'll see, and then we'll both see which one is actually better. I think the pen tool is gonna be better. Place your bets. Because like with the pen tool, we're just going around our existing line art. When we're doing it like this, there's a chance that we actually are missing pixels here and there. And then later, when we flood fill, it'll be all like wonky. But I mean, I don't know, man. This feels like more progress because you see actual colors going down. But then with the pen tool, you don't get to see that. Which you'll understand in a moment, but like at least with this you're seeing color the whole time, you know. I think that's satisfying. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, we go all the way. I think I probably should switch to the pen tool for efficiency's sake. Let me just demonstrate this, huh? Let's get up in the beard. Oh my gosh, I just hit the mic a bit. I'm so sorry if you heard that. Yep. Nearly there. Give us a second. And boop. Just like that. That's how we do it with just the brush method. So pen tool method. Do like this. Alright, we use our pen tool and we get in real close and we go around the line art. And we make sure we don't go outside the lines or inside the lines or whatever. It doesn't have to be a perfect use of the pen tool either, as long as we do what we just said and stay within the confines of the line art. And then the other thing about this is that there's not going to be any like double flood fill, because we won't need to like deal with that tiny little white line, because there will be no tiny little white line. I don't know if you noticed that when we were using the brush, when we kind of like create that border of color with the brush and we go in and we fill, it creates like a funny little area around the original strokes of like a white little line. But we're not going to have to deal with that now with this method. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to shift it all the way across here because this is going to prevent it from filling there. So you'll see in a second. You'll see. And these are like super easy to adjust. And let's get the pen tool in. Okay, like that. And then just this to basically remove that area. And then we should be able to just create that selection from what we did with the pen tool and fill in our hair color. So yeah, you see how it's like way cleaner? That was actually also really fast. So that is the superior method, I think. Alright, oh my. Hold on, let's see. We need some new music. Need some music. Alright, how about this? It says we can use it. Alrighty. Oh, dramatic for our coloring. All right, so now that we've laid that down, I'm just gonna do these little details before I forget around the face area, because if I don't do them now, I will forget. This is how I do the hairline. Just kind of a back and forth of the skin flat and the hair. Actually, you know what? I'll make this faster. Yeah, okay. Instead of that key, we use this key here. And we're going to press X and switch them back and forth, just like that, whenever we need. Oh, that is faster. Just tap, 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 tap. Sorry if I'm tapping the key really hard and you hear it. Oh, this is dramatic. It's just the X key, by the way. It swaps the like two colors you have selected as like foreground and background color. Very convenient. Alright, let's put in the eyebrows. Alright, we got the eye color. And the eye whites. The eye whites are actually not a perfect white. I don't use pure white for the eye whites. There we go. Nice. So we have discovered the superior method, and we will continue using it. So, like for here, where's my pencil? Okay. And then we also need a color for our rag cloth and for his clothing. I actually don't have a color set for his clothes, so we will do that now. I know that it's going to be kind of like working clothes. Very dramatic. Okay, then we just scooch around this area. Yeah, this is definitely better. I should really have used this method more. It's just, I don't know, man. I find it slightly less satisfying. But I guess this is also satisfying to be able to just go plonk like that. Alright, it's pretty good too. Okay, for the dish, it's just a white dish. I'll use this off-white color as well for the dish. That one, how do I want to do that? Yeah, we continue with the pen tool. I think this is just a circle, pretty much, except for here, right, where the cloth comes in. Staying within the line there. Yep, all looks well. All looks fine and dandy. Great. And then we just make that selection and boom. And boom indeed. Okay. This fabric for his cloth that he's using, I think that one I'm going to use on this side. Dishcloth color. just kind of this color here. And do the same thing. Use the pen tool. And mainly to define these outer edges that don't have color yet. Because where the plate already is, we're not going to have a problem with that. And then this sort of edge where it meets the skin tone, we're also not going to have a problem with that. Alright, cool, yes, the pen tool method is superior. Great, and we don't even need to define there, so we just chuck it all the way up top, make our selection, and give him the cloth. So we're just going to keep doing that. And of course the clothes, these clothes here, I'm going to make them similar to some clothes from an earlier episode that involve some kitchen stuff. So it's actually going to be a kind of like grayish, off-whitish color. And scooch that down and make it safer, sort of like more closer. And I think because we've got all of this stuff defined here and we're gonna need this like same color all the way through, I'm just gonna pop down all the way to this bubble and then make define the shape here. Yep, there we go. And just scooching our little line across these bubbly shapes. And then we don't need to worry about here or here. Just want to make sure I have all of that within my selection. And then fill them in. Perfect. Alright, so we're just going to do him first, and then later on down the line we'll go back in to do all of these other details. Let's do this close-up shot. And now, of course, this one's pretty simple because we do just need this all to be filled in with that skin tone. For the for this one, I feel like, you know what, let's continue using the pen tool, right? We've already established it is the superior choice. I was going to be like, I can paint this. But you know what? We've already proven, so we should use it. We've proven a thing, we should continue to work from there. And then we can use the, whatchamacallit, the brush to like define anything extra we need. Okay, my voice is a little bit short. I'm going to try and speak more gently. Do not scrape my own throat. Okay. Eyebrow number 1. Eyebrow number 2. But for these I will just paint it in. It really should be simple enough. There we go. How's it looking? It's looking pretty good. I just want to make a little teeny adjustment. There we go, perfect. Let's get that eye white. Actually, let's get the color first. I'm pretty sure I also have the eye white already. Yeah, there we go. And this one I'm just gonna color in manually. There we go. Okay. Oh my, that was an accident. What are the odds? There you go. Give that a save. And I think, is it similar enough that we can copy this color? Actually, you know, if it is, I'll probably just leave it blank until I finish the whole panel. Or not. Nah, don't need to do that. Excessive, I think. Okay. Let's check. Does this fit? Should do. Let's see. That looks pretty close. How's that? That looks good. Hair is a bit off. There we go. And things that are outside. Oh, I didn't do his beard, did I? Silly me. Let's go in. I'll finish up his beard. That's how we'll end today. I'll be in beard finishing. Huh? Ooh, press too many buttons at once. I just did. Just scooch that away. So be sure. Excuse the coughs. And we just want this smaller. And just draw in the hairline a little bit. Get that. Oopsie. Catching the black. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. How am I catching the black so often? Look at the surface area to volume or something of black. I don't understand. I'm talented, but not in the way I want to be. Okay. Okay, let's do a beard. Let's make this easy on ourselves like that. Yeah, so we can go back and forth, make those edges nice and smooth and sharp and defined. Oh, the table just shook a little, excuse me. Oh, what happened? Oh, I did this. I must have pressed the button that sends it back to its original colors. I don't know how I did that. I didn't even notice what I pressed with my fingers. Okay. There we go. There we go. Give that a save. And then, yes, let's do one more beard. The final beard. And then we shall call it a day, a night, actually. It's just nighttime for me. Like when I'm doing this, I'm trying to make sure. Ooh, hold on, table just shook. I'm trying to. I don't know. What did I do? What button is that? And why is it so close to my back and forth button? Okay. But yeah, what I'm trying to do here is like have this combination of further like sections that are like further away from each other. Like this one I'm just doing here. And the sections that like get really close. I feel like that just gives it a nice look. And it sort of mimics the like natural brush strokes. So I think makes the hair look more like natural. You know, no one's got a perfect hairline. Well, almost nobody, right? Oopsie. Oops, a daisy. Okay, there we go. Beautiful beard. Let's give that a save. Nice. And that'll be it, everyone. That is our final beard. And now that we have done the facial hair, I will call it a night. Everybody go get your snacks and your drink and go to the bathroom. Oh, and stop the music right there. Bye-bye for now. What?